Hello and welcome to Beyond the Boundary. My name is Josh. This is news and views for week 2 of the finals. We've got plenty to get through. As always, got Nick to my right. Hello, mate.
Oh, pretty flat after Friday night, but
You're flat.
Oh, you're flat, are you, Josh?
Oh, you reckon? At least your side's still in the finals. But no, on my left, how are you, buddy?
I'm feeling what I think the Germans call it Schadenfreude, and I think I'm just taking a bit of pleasure from your sadness is what I'm doing here. I'm just basking in the joy that that you two aren't going to be your smug usual selves. Oh yeah, the Bombers, the Cats. Well, this week we're moving on, boys. We're moving on.
At least outside.
Yeah, at least we're in the finals.
Yeah. At least we had a chance.
What did we think of the first week of the finals? No upsets in the first week. Richmond came to a grinding halt to the Tiger train.
Yeah, well, the first 3 games were fantastic to watch, I thought. Maybe the second half of Friday night wasn't so good. Didn't live up to what it's normally been, but the first half was fantastic. The first time those two teams have been level at halftime in 156 meetings.
Jesus.
Wow.
That's interesting because when you see that, you think, oh, this is the norm level at halftime between these two sides.
Yeah, and Sydney and Fremantle, they battled hard at the ANZ Stadium. Sydney got away to a fast start. Fremantle were with them for the second half, but just couldn't reel them in. Yep. And then Saturday night.
Big Ben Brown was tearing the game apart.
There were a few positives for my boys out of that game, and I thought one was Joe Danaher.
Yep. Danaher was great.
He came of age and kind of reminded me a bit of Tom Hawkins, like in 2011 in that grand final. So not kind of the stature of the game, but
I can see it. Bit of a breakout game.
Of a breakout game.
It was a good game, yeah.
Kicked a career high 4 goals, as did Ben Brown. So it was disappointing, but we move on.
First topic of the week, it's Paddy Ryder, one of your boys, Josh, and the rumour mill has been churning this week. They reckon he's not happy at the Bombers. Bit of a sada flavour to this one, as there always is with the Essendon stories these days.
Yeah, well, it's actually not him that's the unhappy one.
It's the manager, is it?
No, it's his partner.
Okay. His
partner's not overly happy about what's happened at the club in the last 2 years, so she's actually the one I'm hearing that needs convincing to stay.
Yep.
Paddy is happy at the club, wants to stay, but his partner's on the other ship.
Well, I know he's a very family-oriented man, and at the risk of making whip noises, I will say that I think a big part of it should be down to Paddy and whether he wants to stay at the club, because ideally he's the one that's going to be playing football. And I think it's more down to him, and I'm sure that his partner respects
this
that.
This is obviously breaking through the boundaries of what is just football here. This is obviously much bigger issue.
I think personally family comes first.
Okay.
In any aspect.
Of course.
His
wife is from the Sunshine Coast.
She is, yes.
So there is another incentive for him to move.
Absolutely.
And Paddy Ryder, how old is he now? 30?
26.
We should actually have a blooper reel where I severely overestimate everyone's age.
I did put that at the start of the year, but Nick does the editing. It's too much for him. So.
Okay, well, so he's still got quite a lot of footy left in him.
Yeah.
So he's got to be certain that wherever he does go, he's probably going to where he's going to end up finishing his career, you'd think. So.
Well, if say he was 30, I probably wouldn't have, and nor would many other Essendon fans.
Expectation of him to stay.
But he's 26. He's had his most consistent year ever.
He's at his peak now. Probably.
He's at his peak.
Yeah.
And he's in our top 3 most important players.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, I'm very, very confident that he'll stay.
I was going to say, you were pretty adamant earlier in the week that he wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, there has been a little bit doubt brought back.
Yep.
Because all this speculation is growing, but I'm still very, very confident that he'll remain.
The club's come out with a statement and said, that we're very unhappy with what the manager's said, how he shopped him around already, supposedly, or whatever. We have no intention of letting Paddy go out anywhere. But I can't remember who made the point. Someone made the point during the week. They should have sat Paddy in front. If that was the case, they would have sat Paddy in front of the camera and said, "I'm committed to this club. I'm not going anywhere," which they haven't done.
That man was Damien Barrett.
Damien Barrett was, yeah. Which I completely agree with.
Well,
that's rare. Someone completely agreeing with Damien Barrett. But
well, in saying that,
if everything in that statement was true, that Paddy is happy at the club, his manager, shouldn't be saying these things, there's no problem here. They could have Paddy say that, the issue's done, there's no more speculation. But because they aren't able to do that, obviously there's still room for speculation.
In saying that though, Paddy's preparing for a final.
Yeah.
So I know fair and squarely that these players had their mind squarely on the first final.
Yeah.
So I can see where Damien's coming from, but there was a final to prepare for, and the last thing you want to think about is the off-field dramas.
Yeah.
There's enough of it during the year. They get put up with a lot of crap. Jake Carlisle was also linked to leaving the club.
Yeah.
And He was very...
Michael Hurley, I heard his name thrown up as well.
Yeah.
And everyone's, yeah.
Jake Carlisle was very, very quick. Obviously, he wasn't preparing because he was out injured. He was very quick to jump on Twitter and say he's not going anywhere. So,
yeah,
it's a tricky situation. I mean, as I said, I'm very, very confident that he'll stay.
Yeah, which is good for Bomber fans.
Yeah, but there is that minute little bit of doubt in the back of my mind. So.
Well, even if he does leave, Nick Geisen has confirmed that he doesn't want him at Geelong.
Josh has been trying to sell him to me.
No, I haven't.
Moving on. Another player that's been thrown up in the cauldron of rumours of leaving.
Mitch Clark it is. And this one was almost dead and buried, the story. It's, he's retired. It's a sad story that he's had to retire because of these depression issues. I was very surprised when this has come up again this week, and supposedly... Well, Josh has got more details here, but supposedly he's been in contact with Melbourne this whole time about coming back next season, and now he's changed his mind.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a bit of rumour flying around that Mitch Clark has been doing a bit of training with fitness guru at Melbourne, Dave Mission, in a bid to play for Melbourne in 2015. But in the last couple of weeks, apparently, he's come out and said that...
shopped around a bit, has he?
Well, supposedly the story was when he retired, he was taking a break with the option of coming back, but the actual, the press conference sort of feel of retiring takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
There's no expectation, will he come back, will he not? But then he's just done a backflip on the Melbourne Football Club, and Paul Roos isn't happy with him.
No, he had a little bit of a dig on the Best and Fairest night the other night, saying, if you don't want to be here, you know where to go and stuff like that. So, if that's directed at Mitch, who knows? But, yeah... Interesting to see how this one plays out, mate, because...
Look, I think it's really interesting. This is one of the times when I start to compare AFL to other sports where leaving the club is not that big a deal. You see it in soccer and NBA where players will leave a club at a drop of a hat.
Yeah.
They're offered more money. It does not matter to them at all. And, people might be upset for a little bit, but it's just, glossed over.
It's just the way it happens, yeah.
It's just in AFL, players tend to be so loyal to their teams. Something like this is very, very frowned upon, where a club is, put their time, their effort into you, especially when it's a tough time for you and, all that. I think Melbourne have reason to be upset, but then at the same time, I sympathise with Mitch Clark. He's obviously done extremely well to battle off a very, tough illness, mental illness. And, at the end of the day, he needs to be happy. I think, there's the questions of loyalty, but then there's also the question of is he happy personally?
Yeah.
And if he's not enjoying football, then what's the point of playing it? You know what I mean? So,
well, he said about 2 or 3 weeks after he left that, of course, he's missing footy.
Yeah.
So the passion's still there for him. He just needed to get away for a little bit. There's talk that he might go back to WA, but I don't think that'll happen because his partner is doing a course.
Yeah, there's something about his partner doing a course in Melbourne.
Okay.
That's a little interesting. He's a WA boy. So.
And he is. He's still contracted at the Demons, I believe.
He is, yeah.
And
so Freo fans would be licking their lips at the moment because they need a second tall, and Mitch Clark would be right up there.
I think Melbourne have actually come out and said they've actually made a statement saying they're not happy about this and they're not going to just let him walk. He's still a contracted player.
He's contracted to the Melbourne Football Club until October 31. Okay. So in between that time is the trade period.
Yeah.
Correct. So if he doesn't want to be at the Melbourne Football Club, then...
So he's not a free agent, that's what I'm trying to clarify.
No.
He can't just walk on his
own. No, of course not.
But it'd be interesting to see because I know I'd take him if he's fit and firing. And
I don't think there's any club that would probably say they wouldn't take him because he's a very good player. He was a high draft pick, I believe. So he's obviously got a lot of talent. He showed everyone that at Brisbane. So he's obviously a very good player. But it's just that time of the season now, isn't it? Where all these rumours start to rear their ugly head.
Silly season is
season.
Full swing.
That's an excellent way to describe it, I think.
I mean, you talk about Paddy Ryder, Brisbane also chasing Dane Beams, apparently.
Yeah, that's a big one. They've
got plenty of cash.
Joel Sword apparently leaving the West Coast to join his brother. But, you never know with the...
That's not true, part. But,
no, of course not.
But,
well, it could be. We don't know. But
no, I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going to happen, boys. Okay. Anyway, that brings us to the end of a relatively short...
The opposite was almost true last year.
It was. There was rumours that...
Scott Selwood, I was almost in tears on that.
Anyway, we'll definitely be covering all these rumours as they come about in the coming weeks.
Having said that, we don't like to deal in rumours. We don't like to promote these rumours. But all we like to do is address them and logically and rationally and look at what evidence is there to suggest that this could be true and what evidence is there to suggest that this isn't true.
Basically, do a likely meter. Is it likely to happen?
Correct.
Is it not likely to happen?
So as opposed to looking at those pages that suggest all these ridiculous rumours, you may as well, get some kind of a proper account where the rumour is analysed properly.
Yeah. Apart from our page where it's only posted if it's actual fact.
That's actual fact, yes.
So You'll notice I didn't post much about Paddy Ryder during the week because
I wasn't sure if that was just because it was an Essendon. Didn't want to add any fuel to the fire.
Because there was no quote,
substantiated
no quotes in the article from either Connors, who's Paddy Ryder's manager, from Essendon, or from Paddy Ryder himself. So,
your hands are clean, Josh.
Anyway, that brings us to the end of a relatively short edition of News and Views. Check out the match previews, Geelong vs North Melbourne and Fremantle vs Port this week. Links to them at the end of this video. We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching.